Imagine brand new trucks that once sold for over $60,000, now gathering dust at $15,000. And even desperate dealers cannot move them. This is no ordinary market crash. What is unfolding reveals the staggering cost of the global bet on ultra-cheap Chinese imports, over 1 million trucks per year flooding outside markets, fueled by state-backed overcapacity and cut-rate supply chains. But beneath the fire sale prices lies something far more dangerous: warranty nightmares, missing parts, and whispered warnings of design failures that some manufacturers tried to hide. Is this the bargain of the decade, or is there a billion-dollar reckoning about to hit every hardworking buyer who takes the risk? The real story begins with how these trucks got here in the first place. China's truck industry runs on a scale that dwarfs anything most Americans have ever imagined. Inside sprawling factories the size of small towns, assembly lines churn out more than 1 million commercial trucks every year, more than the entire output of the United States and Europe combined. This is not one company or a handful of brands, but a tightly packed roster of industrial giants. FAW, Jifeng, Sinotruk, Dongfeng, Foton, Shackman, JAC, JMC, and Chang'an, each with their own web of suppliers, satellite plants, and government backers. In the city of Changchun, FAW's flagship plant alone can build a heavy-duty truck every few minutes. In Shandong, Sinotruk's lines run day and night, feeding a logistics chain that stretches from inland China to ports on the Pacific. These are not boutique operations. They are the backbone of a national strategy, with local governments pouring in subsidies and cheap land to keep production moving, even when warehouses are overflowing. The numbers are staggering. In 2024, Chinese manufacturers shipped over 1 million heavy trucks, outpacing every other country on Earth. The bulk of these trucks roll out as basic workhorses, cab-over designs, diesel or electric, built for price-sensitive buyers in China, Russia, Southeast Asia, Africa, and increasingly Latin America. But the ambitions do not stop at emerging markets. Companies like Windrose, backed by JAC Group and Higer, are already preparing to launch battery electric Class 8 trucks in North America, with an assembly site under construction in Savannah, Georgia, and first deliveries promised for 2025. Dongfeng and Foton have quietly set up export divisions targeting Europe and the United States, promising to undercut Western rivals on price and to match them on range and payload. The secret sauce is scale and cost. Chinese truck makers benefit from the world's densest supply chains: steel, electronics, batteries, and plastics, all sourced from nearby industrial clusters, with bulk purchasing power that drives costs down to levels Western manufacturers cannot touch. A truck that costs $60,000 to build and ship from China can be sold at a profit for $40,000, or dumped at $15,000 if inventory piles up. This is how the market gets flooded: production quotas set by government planners, factory managers desperate to keep lines moving, and investors demanding growth at any cost. When trucks do not sell fast enough at home, they get pushed out the door to dealers and exporters, sometimes relabeled as used to skirt quotas or to disguise the true scale of overproduction. For the corporations and financiers behind this machine, it is a numbers game: move metal, hit targets, and let someone else worry about what happens after the sale. The result is a tidal wave of trucks rolling off the line, each one a symbol of industrial ambition, but also a potential liability waiting to surface. As these vehicles scatter across continents, the promise of cheap, modern trucks collides with the reality of what it takes to support them outside the factory gates. The story of how these trucks got here is not just about manufacturing muscle. It is about a global bet on volume, speed, and price, with little regard for what gets left behind. In China's industrial heartlands, cost is not just a number, it is an obsession. Factories cluster so tightly that steel, wiring, and batteries can move from one shop to the next in minutes, not days. A truck built at FAW Jifang or Sinotruk draws on parts sourced from just down the road, not halfway across the globe. This density creates a relentless cost advantage. Local officials, eager to keep employment high, sweeten the deal with tax breaks, subsidized electricity, and cheap land. In Shandong and Anhui, entire towns specialize in one component: brake pads, axles, seats, feeding the assembly lines with a steady stream of low-cost parts. But this same system breeds overcapacity. When one factory ramps up, suppliers follow, and soon warehouses overflow. Production quotas set by distant bureaucrats keep the lines running even as finished trucks stack up in storage lots. For the big manufacturers, missing a quota risks losing political favor, credit access, or future expansion. The answer is to push the excess abroad. If the domestic market cannot absorb the trucks, they are shipped overseas, often at prices that undercut local rivals by tens of thousands of dollars per unit. State incentives make this export push even more aggressive. Subsidies for electric drivetrains, tax breaks for exports, and direct grants for new models all drive the real cost of a $60,000 truck down to $40,000 before it leaves the port. When inventory piles up, companies and officials are willing to take losses just to keep production moving. Trucks are reclassified as used or demo units, bundled and sent to Africa, Latin America, or anywhere a buyer can be found. Sometimes entire fleets are sold off in bulk, with little thought for long-term support or resale value. The priority is clear: keep the factories running, keep the numbers up, and let the risk fall on dealers, buyers, and foreign governments. This is not market discipline. It is a race to flood the world with trucks, fueled by cheap credit, political mandates, and a supply chain that can outpace most companies' loan approvals. For Western manufacturers and American workers, the game feels fixed. They face state-backed giants willing to lose money on every truck if it means keeping factories open and market share growing. The result is a flood of inventory on foreign shores, often priced below the cost of steel, with little regard for reliability or service. Dealers abroad end up with overflowing lots, pressured to sell at any price just to clear space. The hidden costs ripple outward, to mechanics hunting for parts, buyers stuck with unsupported vehicles, and communities watching their own jobs vanish. It is a numbers game with no safety net, and the fallout is only beginning. On a windswept lot outside Des Moines, the rows of gleaming new trucks look more like a liquidation sale than the future of American transport. The stickers say $60,000, but the handwritten tags taped to the windshield slash that down to $19,999, then $15,500, sometimes even lower if you ask the manager in the back office. For the dealers caught in this storm, there's no pride left in the numbers. Every month, the floor plan interest piles up, eating away at whatever slim margin was promised when the first shipment rolled off the carrier. One dealer, who's run his family's lot for 30 years, describes it like drowning in steel. It's not just that we can't move them. The factory keeps sending more, whether we want them or not. I'm paying the bank every day these trucks sit here, and the only way out is to cut the price until someone bites. The China Automobile Dealers Association, or CADA, has issued public pleas to the manufacturers: stop dumping inventory, tie production to real demand, and give dealers a fighting chance. Their statement in March 2025 was blunt: if the factories keep flooding the market, the entire dealer network could collapse. But the trucks keep coming. Some arrive under new invoice numbers, some relabeled as used to skirt quotas, all of them adding to the pressure. Desperation breeds creativity. Dealers huddle in conference rooms, swapping stories about gray market exporters who offer to buy entire lots at pennies on the dollar. No questions asked. Cash wired by the end of the week. Others try live stream flash sales, promising once-in-a-lifetime deals to anyone willing to drive off the lot today. The online listings multiply, each one undercutting the last, until the price bears no resemblance to the factory invoice. A composite of dealer voices paints the same picture. The trucks move only when the price is so low it hurts. We're losing money on every sale, but we have to clear the floor plan or the bank calls in the loan. I've got friends who've walked away from their franchises. Some nights I wonder if I should do the same. For the manufacturers, it's a numbers game. Keep the lines running, keep the quotas up, and let the risk fall on someone else. For the dealers, it's a slow-motion disaster. The trucks that once promised a path to growth now threaten to pull them under. The only thing moving faster than the markdowns is the sense of panic spreading through the network. In the words of one industry expert, you can't sell a $60,000 truck for $15,000 and expect anybody to survive. Not the dealer, not the buyer, not the brand. On the ground, the consequences are real. Families who've run lots for generations are watching their savings drain away, hoping that the next sale, no matter how painful, will buy them another month. The lots are full, the phones are quiet, and the only thing certain is that the trucks aren't going anywhere unless the price keeps falling. The dealer crisis isn't about a bad quarter or a rough year. It's about survival in a game where the rules keep changing and the house always wins. For small contractors and independent haulers, the promise of a brand new truck for a fraction of the usual price is hard to resist until the real cost shows up in the repair bay. The first hint comes when the check engine light flickers on just a few months into service. A routine call to the dealer turns into a week-long wait, then two, as parts are nowhere to be found. Mechanics check their screens, shake their heads, and send emails that go unanswered. The story repeats across the country. A landscaping company in Ohio, a concrete hauler in Texas, a family-owned moving business in Georgia, all drawn in by the low price, all sidelined by the same invisible wall. One contractor, who runs 3 trucks for local deliveries, describes the experience as a nightmare. His new cab over, fresh off the lot, lost power on the highway with less than 10,000 miles on the odometer. The culprit was a failed turbocharger. The part, according to the dealer, had to be ordered from a warehouse in Guangdong, with an estimated delivery time of 6 weeks. In the meantime, the truck sat idle, insurance and loan payments piling up, while his crew scrambled to cover jobs with aging backup vehicles. "I thought I was getting ahead," he says, "but every day that truck sat, it was like money leaking out of my pocket." The problem isn't just one-off failures. Across fleets, early life breakdowns are cropping up in suspension systems, electronics, and drivetrain components. Service managers report that replacement parts for these Chinese trucks, axles, control modules, even basic sensors, are often unavailable in North America. Some dealers keep a handful of filters and fluids on hand, but anything more complex requires an international shipment, with customs delays and unpredictable tracking. Lead times for major components stretch from 3 to 8 weeks, and in some cases, the part never arrives at all. For small businesses that rely on every truck to keep contracts and cash flow alive, this downtime is a silent killer. A missed job means a lost client. A truck off the road for a month can tip a company into the red. Warranty coverage, in theory, should soften the blow, but only if the dealer can get reimbursed and the part can be found. Too often, the warranty claim sits in limbo, while the owner pays out of pocket for a rental, or faces the prospect of turning down work. Some dealers, burned by unpaid warranty labor and angry customers, quietly refuse to service certain models. Others demand cash up front or simply turn away trucks they didn't sell. Industry experts warn that the cost advantage of a bargain truck evaporates the moment it breaks down. As one fleet analyst puts it, a cheap truck that sits for 6 weeks waiting for a part isn't cheap at all. For a contractor, that's the difference between staying afloat and going under. The service network, built for speed in China's industrial clusters, falls apart when stretched across oceans and customs lines. Even the most basic repairs become logistical puzzles, with owners stuck in a holding pattern and no clear answers from the distributor or the manufacturer. Stories pile up. A dump truck with a failed DEF sensor, parked for a month while the part clears customs. A box truck waiting on a proprietary ECU, the driver forced to borrow from friends to keep his business running. The pain isn't just mechanical, it's financial and personal. A daily reminder that the sticker price is only the beginning. For every truck that leaves the lot at a fire sale price, there's an owner learning that downtime is the most expensive line on the ledger. The promise of a new start turns into a waiting game with no guarantee of a finish. A single federal loophole opened the door. In the United States, imported trucks do not have to pass a full battery of crash tests before they hit the road. Instead, manufacturers can self-certify compliance with the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards, known as FMVSS, by submitting their own data on their own timeline. For Chinese truck makers chasing speed and volume, this shortcut was irresistible. An engineer who worked on the US launch described the pressure. The engineer said they were told to meet the shipping deadline, no matter what. If a test failed, they were told to rerun it or find an explanation. A leaked internal memo dated January 23rd details how a key supplier in Guangdong altered the heat treat process for steering linkages to save time. The deviation was not reported to United States regulators. Instead, the trucks shipped with documentation showing full compliance on paper. The engineer flagged the risk in an email, warning that fatigue cracks were possible under sustained highway loads, and recommending holding shipment pending further testing. Management replied that they should proceed as scheduled and address the issue in a post-launch service campaign if necessary. The trucks rolled off the ships and onto American lots, carrying a hidden risk that no buyer could see. The regulatory gap meant that a critical safety defect slipped through, setting up a financial and legal disaster waiting to unfold. Warranty reserves drained faster than anyone predicted. The first wave of breakdowns, steering failures, electronics glitches, and engine stalls triggered a flood of claims that outpaced what the importers and their backers set aside. By late spring, dealers faced a new kind of crisis. Every truck still on the lot was now a liability, not an asset. Auction houses started refusing bulk consignments, wary of defect rumors and the unknown cost of making these trucks roadworthy. Wholesale values. Cratered overnight, trucks that were supposed to anchor a new market now struggled to fetch even a quarter of their sticker price at liquidation sales. Behind the scenes, investor calls grew tense. A composite of executive emails reveals the panic. One message read, "Warranty accruals up 500% month over month. Dealers demanding buybacks. Immediate liquidity action required." The same funds that once promised unbeatable returns on Chinese imports now scrambled to stem the bleeding, weighing whether to cut their losses or double down on distressed inventory. Floor plan lenders called in notes, forcing some dealers to walk away from their franchises entirely. The financial spiral did not stop at the dealer lot. Banks, investors, and suppliers all took hits as the trucks became radioactive on balance sheets. The gamble, once sold as a path to easy profit, now looked like a slow-motion collapse, with working Americans and small business owners left holding the bag. Today, bargain bin trucks crowd dealer lots, a stark warning that when corporations gamble with quality, everyday Americans pay the price. As China's auto giants chase global dominance, the fallout lands here at home. Lost trust, wasted paychecks, and safety are left to chance. The real cost is not just in unsold metal, it is in the risks we are asked to accept. What would you do? Share your thoughts below. For years, America's biggest automakers called the shots, locking us out with impossible prices and record-breaking profits as their trucks topped $60,000 and sales soared. But now, those same companies are the ones panicking, overflowing lots, desperate dealers, and yes, 21 pickup trucks no one wants. Dealers are begging you to take them, flipping the power from them to us. How bad is it? Try a brand new 2025 Ford F-150 with 0% APR for 48 months and no payments for 90 days, just to get it off the lot. So, how did the golden goose become the problem child of the car world? The shocking collapse starts now. The American pickup truck was once the ultimate profit machine. For nearly half a century, the Ford F-Series ruled the sales charts, stretching its lead year after year, while the Chevrolet Silverado and Ram 1500 fought for second place. Executives in Detroit watched the numbers climb with every new model, until the average transaction price for a full-size pickup crossed $60,000 in 2023. By then, a loaded F-150 or Silverado cost as much as a luxury sedan, and buyers were signing up for $1,000 monthly payments stretched over 7 years. Ford, GM, and Ram built their fortunes on this boom. Corporate earnings calls turned into victory laps as trucks delivered margins no sedan could touch. In 2022, analysts estimated gross profit per pickup at $15,000 to $20,000, with high trims and luxury packages pushing that even higher. One Wall Street report called the F-150 the single most profitable consumer product in the world. The numbers were staggering. 780,000 F-Series trucks sold in 2022, each one a rolling cash register. Silverado and Sierra combined for over 700,000 more. Detroit's Big Three were raking in billions, and the message was clear. If you wanted a new truck, you'd pay whatever they wanted. The sales charts read like a dynasty. Ford's F-Series held the top spot for 47 straight years. GM's Silverado trailed close behind, with Ram chasing both. But all three brands boasted record profits. The industry shifted its entire focus to pickups, shutting down sedan lines and betting the farm on bigger, pricier, and more luxurious trucks. Every new model came loaded with tech, leather, and off-road packages, features that padded the sticker price and fattened corporate margins. But the hunger for profit had a cost. As prices soared, so did loan terms. Truck buyers were now financing $60,000 to $70,000 rigs for 84 months or more, just to get payments under control. Meanwhile, dealers and automakers bragged about unprecedented pricing power, with discounts all but disappearing from 2021 to 2023. Jessica Caldwell from Edmunds summed it up. Truck buyers increasingly demand all the bells and whistles, making $65,000 the new normal for a loaded F-150 or Silverado. For years, the story was simple. Automakers set the rules, customers lined up, and profits rolled in. The average American family was paying the equivalent of a full year's salary just to get behind the wheel of a new truck. Detroit's boardrooms toasted to another record quarter, convinced the good times would never end. But as the profits piled up, so did the arrogance. The industry's golden goose was getting fat, and nobody at the top seemed to notice the cracks forming beneath the surface. Dealers are begging you to take these trucks. No exaggeration, no fine print hiding the truth. For 2 decades, the big automakers called the shots. They squeezed every last dollar out of buyers, tacked on every package, and watched profits soar while customers stretched themselves thin just to keep up with the Joneses. But that era is over. The power has shifted, and the desperation now sits squarely on the dealer's side of the desk. Here's the proof. Right now, you can walk into a Ford showroom and drive away in a brand new 2025 F-150, America's best-selling truck for nearly half a century, with 0% APR for 48 months and no payments for 90 days. That's not some leftover base model either. Even the XL trim, the workhorse of the lineup, is included. Ford calls it the Ford for America program. But behind the flag-waving slogan is a cold reality. Inventory is piling up, and the only way out is to hand you the keys, for less than they ever dreamed possible. The numbers don't lie. A 0% loan for 4 years means every payment goes straight to principal, not to the bank. No interest, no hidden fees, just pure leverage for the buyer. And with a 3-month breather before you owe a dime, it's a deal nobody saw coming at the peak of the truck boom. Tim Healy, a truck market analyst, put it bluntly. We haven't seen 0% on America's top trucks since pre-pandemic days. Inventories are way up, and Ford dealers can't move these as fast as they'd like. Think about how quickly the tables have turned. Just a year ago, buyers lined up and paid sticker, or more, for the privilege of owning a new F-150. Dealers wouldn't budge on price, and incentives were a relic of the past. Now, the same trucks sit unsold for months, and the incentives are back with a vengeance. The big car companies gambled on endless demand, but rising interest rates, higher insurance, and $70,000 window stickers finally broke the spell. The result? Rows of unsold pickups, floor plan costs eating away at dealer profits, and corporate executives scrambling to clear the lots by any means necessary. It's not just Ford, the entire industry is feeling the heat, but the F-150's 0% APR offer is the clearest sign yet that the game has changed. For buyers who felt priced out or ignored, this is the moment to take control. The deals are real, the desperation is real, and for once, the leverage is on your side. And if you're wondering how to avoid getting burned by a bad deal, don't forget to grab the free guide in the description, 17 car brands to avoid in 2025. The big companies played us for years, but now the trick's on them. The only question left is, who's ready to cash in while the window's still open? Inside Detroit's boardrooms, the mood was pure confidence. The pandemic years had delivered a sugar high of truck sales, and the people at the top believed the demand would never fade. As late as 2023, Ford and GM executives doubled down, approving production targets that outpaced even their own analysts' warnings. One leaked slide deck from a Ford forecast meeting spelled it out. Internal data scientists flagged the risk of a post-pandemic drop, but leadership waved them off, betting on optimistic retail projections and the memory of empty lots from the chip shortage. The thinking was simple. If you build it, Americans will buy it, no matter how high the price or how loaded the truck. That's how the industry landed on a mountain of unsold pickups. By the summer of 2025, Ford's F-Series inventory had ballooned to over 100 days' supply in major cities. Silverado and Ram numbers weren't far behind. Dealers from Atlanta to Denver watched as truck after truck rolled off the carrier, filling every inch of their lots. Some stores reported 3 XLs or XLTs for every custom-ordered truck, with no buyers in sight. A regional manager described the scene as a tidal wave of metal, more than we could ever hope to move before fall. Executives ignored the red flags. The retail team at Ford projected 820,000 F-Series sales for the 2024 to 2025 model year. But by July, the best-case scenario had dropped to just over 710,000, a miss of more than 100,000 units, confirmed in a memo that circulated among nervous franchisees. GM's own targets for Silverado and Sierra fell short by similar margins, with analyst estimates putting unsold inventory at 15% above what the market could absorb. Dealers pleaded for fewer high-trim allocations, but the factory kept shipping, desperate to keep plants running at full tilt and hit bonus numbers. The cost of that hubris lands squarely on the people who have to move the metal. By mid-2025, unsold pickups across the country topped 750,000 units, according to Cox Automotive. That's the largest retail inventory glut since the financial crisis. For every truck that sits, dealers pay steep floor plan interest, often $25 to $42 per day per vehicle. In Dallas, 3 F-150s sitting for 100 days each can rack up $12,000 in carrying costs before a single sale. One dealer compared it to burning cash in a bonfire, hoping someone shows up before it's all gone. The arrogance wasn't limited to Ford or GM. Stellantis, too, kept Ram production humming, banking on a steady stream of buyers that never materialized. Insiders say executives were laser-focused on quarterly bonuses, not the warning signs flashing from the field. "We begged for fewer loaded XLTs and more custom orders," said a Michigan dealer.